Hey, this is Mark from Casting Crowns, and you're listening to Dispatch Radio.
All right, folks, we're going to switch gears back to Winter Jam. You know I'm a big fan. Love the show down here in Tampa. And one of the new bands that I got to see was Stars Go Dim. We have Chris Cleveland on the line with us. We're going to talk about that, talk about the tour. I think they're in the Midwest. And Chris, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
What a great show, great experience. We love covering it and attending every year, just to have 20,000 screaming, raging fans and people worshiping God and enjoying different genres of music. And speak to that a little bit of experience, especially being so kind of early. You Are Loved is doing well, but I mean, for all sake, it's kind of you guys have been together for a while, but I mean, it's kind of early in your career to see something like to experience something like Winter Jam of all things.
Yeah, it is. It's all of those things, right? So we started the band. I started the band a long time ago, but it was kind of different, and it was different music. So this really, for all intents and purposes, is kind of the first thing we've done as this group for this music. So always been a Christian music fan. Always followed it just my whole life. Our parents raised us on it. So I've known what Winter Jam was for a long time, and I've gone to the concerts. So to be able to come out and, be a part of probably Christian music's, biggest tour and biggest nights is just incredible. And I tell you, more so than being able to go out and share the stage is just being able to, be with these artists, from top to bottom backstage and getting to know those guys and girls, and they're just incredible people. If you think their music is good, all of these guys are even better people, and that's what's been the most impressive thing, I think, to me. Above meeting all the fans and people like you guys out on the road.
We had a great time, and it is a great show. They're out in Evansville tonight, I believe, and they're going to be doing a couple more shops through the weekend. And get tickets at jamtour.com is where you get your tickets and information. We'll link to that, of course, get you caught up if you're not out for one of these shows this weekend. You can definitely look at the tour coming up, so when you catch them in your city, find out more about the band, that kind of thing. And Chris, it was really just a fun night, obviously with the different genres and Christian music. I think sometimes gets stigmatized. And what's been really kind of the coolest aspect for you, when you go from you guys to rap artists like Tedashii to Red and Pyrotechnics to drums everywhere when King and Country's playing. What's been like the emotional roller coaster for you to be able to even take all that in?
Man, I love it, because if at some point you don't like something, wait 5 minutes and you're going to love something else. You know what I mean? And
true.
That's kind of the beauty of this tour. For me, it's been, we all make different music. We all come from different places. So even if I didn't understand the music before, once I got to know these guys, like, you start understanding where they're coming from and loving what they're doing. So it goes back to those relationships and that kind of thing on that. But man, there are some really, really great artists out here. Incredible singers, incredible players, guys with incredible hearts. And so it's been fun. And one of the cool things about that is there's going to be fans that we get and that other people get that we would never get before, because they're coming, to see a specific band, and then they realize, oh man, I really like Stars Go Dim, or whatever. We saw that some on the West Coast tour, when all the Skillet fans would come out and be like, I've never listened to pop music before, but these Stars Go Dim guys are all right, And so that's really neat. So you're not only kind of cross-pollinating bands, but you're cross-pollinating fans, which is really, really neat to see.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that assessment. I think that, even if you're going to leave and you're not going to be say it for me, it's like I'm not a big guy that's going to buy a bunch of rap artists and, Lecrae's in a special category, but to get to know KB and Tedashii's music, where they're coming from, they share their testimony. They're on stage with other artists. You really get a different appreciation and experience. Like you say, you can go to their tables, get to know them, pick up their CDs, pick up information, and it is a very amazing event. And Winter Jam is something you just got to experience. And Chris, as you now you've kind of gotten through this phase, and you're out, you're enjoying Winter Jam and that kind of thing. What do you and maybe you and your brother kind of work on? Do you guys still do some writing on the road, or during your days off, or how do you guys schedule things?
Man, we do these interviews like the first day, which takes up a bunch of chunk of time, which is okay. I kind of like it because it gets me back into the swing of things when the weekend starts over. But I've actually, Josh and Kyle, drummer and guitar player, we all drove in yesterday, so we had this about a 9-hour drive just to talk and to plan and to kind of think. And on a tour this long, you do your set and it's the same thing every night, and it gets monotonous. After 20 shows, which I think we're about in on that out of 60, so we've still got a bunch left. But so at some point you're like, man, I've got to be creative. I have these creative juices that I just have to, do something or I'm going to go crazy. So we wound up bringing a whole kind of mobile recording rig out with us just today. So we're going to start working on our shows for after this tour, and then start writing some new music as we're out here. Because we're not going to be in a better situation with as many creative people in one place, probably, unless we're on this tour again. So we really want to take advantage of that and see if we can get some great people in the room and write and just be creative.
You mentioned the great people, and I want to touch on something. We every now and again get some good insight here, and I want to touch on this because maybe one of your first experiences with this as well is obviously New Song puts this together. You travel around, and they include Pastor Bobby, and Pastor Bobby, of course, leads Jam Church. Jam Church takes their rotations through leading worship and that kind of thing. I'd like you to speak to that experience and what that's been like.
Man, Pastor Bobby's awesome. He's just a firecracker, and he's been doing this for so long that he can really talk to you for a while and speak to your situation, which is great. He speaks to us artists very well. It's a different life to be on the road. It's a different life to do these shows and be a leader, I think, in the Christian community. But we need to be fed, and that's really important. I think I'm a worship leader at home, so I've always known the importance of not just giving myself, but trying to fill it up. And Pastor Bobby does a really incredible job with that, as do the New Song guys, and as does Tony, the speaker that's out here. They just really take time to sit down. If you're at dinner or you're standing around, they're going to come find you. They'll pray with you. They'll speak into your life. But they do a jam church on Sunday morning, which is awesome. So all the artists will come, and it's not. This can't be bad. Like when David Crowder's up there leading worship for 50 or 60 of you in jam church. That's pretty cool. So the artists will take turns leading worship, and then Pastor will bring us a message. It's awesome to see. Even when tours get this big and they've had the success that they've had, that they still have the priorities right. That they're still seeking God first, and even you see that on even in the offering time. They when they take money each night, they give 10% of that off the top back, and it's just been really impressive getting to know those New Song guys as well, and seeing their hearts in all of this, and knowing that they've got the priorities right as well.
Chris Cleveland from Stars Go Dim, jamtour.com, Winter Jam. Make sure you check it out if you haven't caught the show already on this tour. Make sure there's a show near you. We'll definitely be linking to that. We'll link to their social media and some of that stuff. You make sure you can connect and plug in with them. And I appreciate his time with us. We're going to take a break, come back, and we're going to talk about Red, another band on Winter Jam, and some of the other stuff you can experience. So just come right back.